Oscar, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Again, welcome to Project Review Committee for July 12th, 2023. We're going to go ahead and start Project Review Committee at 1:35 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and start roll call here from city staff. We're joined by Jason Rathenauer, the Assistant City Manager. Also joined by Jeff O'Neill, our City Planner. Again, myself, Oscar Cepeda, the Associate Planner. We're also joined by Rocio Mejia, the Assistant Planner. We're joined by Javier Sanchez, the Engineering and Project Management Director. We're joined by James Wickersham, our Chief Building Official. We're also joined by Michael Knight, our Public Works Director. We're also joined by Robert Alvarez with the Water Division. We're also joined by Brianna Spry with Field Services. We're also joined by Clayton Dignam, our Fire Marshal with the Fire Department. I believe that's all. Yes, that's all from staff. With that, I'm going to go ahead and open oral communications. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the committee on any matter pertaining to project review. Seeing none here in person or that has joined us here online, I'm going to go ahead and close oral communications. As far as today's Project Review Committee agenda, we have one item for the applicant here in regards to proposing a change of occupancy here for location at 167 West Poplar. The project proposing tenant improvements to the existing building number 2, that would include a future office space for a training facility. Let me go ahead and share my screen here for the project pipeline. As far as, oops, labeled on. Let's see, this one. There it is. Wrong labeling. But yes, as far as the tenant improvement is being proposed here for building number 2 for adult training building for the Porterville Unified School District is our understanding. As far as a floor plan, there has been submitted more or less like a two-phase or phased improvements to the existing building. Comments from planning is in relation to the use. The proposed use falls under office uses, which is a permitted use within the general industrial zoning district. Looks like the development is going to be just tenant improvements, no expansion of floor area. For our comments, it's just in relation to any expansion in the building or any new development would have to comply with our development ordinance, which is chapter 21 of our Porterville Municipal Code. Also, any required parking for the new use, making sure we provide one parking per 250 square feet of that new floor area of the office space. Any future signage proposed with the project, making sure we comply with section 305 of our development ordinance. And again, any new parking that may be established complying with section 304.10 of our development ordinance, which is our parking standards. And again, that's pretty much our comments from planning. Pretty standard on here, the proposed use. At this time, it is our understanding that the use would be for this building only. Okay. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it along to our building division with James.
So, yeah, being that it's permitted use, we would just fall back to, plan review, anything in plan review that might get caught then. It looks, I mean, it looks like you got plenty of, exiting, and it's already sprinklered, so I don't have any comments at this time.
One of the things, Gary, that I was thinking, can I talk now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. One of the things is that, so right now, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but this is what POSD is gonna occupy for phase one, but all of this is still mini storage, correct?
Yes,
For now.
all of this will remain as mini storage.
So even though we're sprinklered, are we gonna be, for phase one, are we gonna be required to have to do a 1 hour occupancy separation to meet this, or no?
No, we looked it up, earlier,
Mhm.
and there was no separation required.
Okay, sprinkled, okay, perfect.
Thank you, James. Next with, fire department with Clayton.
Basically, any changes to the occupancy from what it's going to what it's gonna be. I don't think there's gonna be much with the sprinkler system, but there may be some with the fire alarm system. Initiating devices, notification devices. So there, you'll wanna have that reviewed so that we can look at that during the plans review process. To make sure that if there's any changes in the system based on its proposed use or the new use, we catch those things and get them done during construction. But other than that, again, yeah, it's a sprinkler building, so, I don't remember the exact layout for all of the horn strobes and pull stations and all of that, so based on the fact that we're changing this and bringing more people in, we want to make sure that we do that.
We provide a fire alarm plan then with the.
Potentially, have it reviewed, if the review shows that there's no required changes to what is existing, you'll just provide that during the plans review that this XYZ company looked at it, they reviewed it under the occupancy change, there's no required changes to that. We'll review it for clarification and then let you know. And then if there are changes, that'll be the opportunity for them to provide the plans showing, hey, this needs to be moved here, that needs to be moved there, and we're gonna do it.
Okay.
Was there a knockbox for each building prior?
There was one on the front office. I don't know.
I think
if
the
there's one
front
out
office
there.
may be the only one that has one. It's a large one.
Yeah.
It's an old one.
Yeah.
Now that we're changing the occupancy with people and stuff, we may want to go ahead and upgrade that to a Knox box on that building as well. Just because of the distance to the front building for someone to go up, get the keys and come back.
That's the developer bell. James, so with the 1 to 250 parking ratio from planning, we'll have 11 stalls, roughly maybe 12 required for just this area. So our intent was that we'll build out, probably one accessible stall based off of those, 11 to 12 stalls required. And then Gary, weren't we thinking like somewhere over here? And
Yeah.
do some type of path of travel?
Originally, the parking was here and we blacked it out because they put all the RV parking over here and they wanted more space, but now we could actually, they don't need the space because they come in, they back it in, the units in from the other side. So we can restripe this and we do have, ADA accessibility. I think it's this door right here. We put a brand new ramp and everything in too, but it will just make sure that path of travel and everything is designated.
Yeah, ideally you want it closest to the front door if you can.
Yeah, this whole area is all blacked out, but there are parking stalls there that you can still see, but we'll restripe it and get a pathway.
We'll make sure not to impede on your apparatus. I think we're gonna end up doing like 45 or 60, right? On angle, so that way it's not.
Probably 45, yeah, so we're not sticking out in the drive. We need at least 20 feet clear out of here, fire, so.
Is it gonna be between those buildings, 2 and 7? Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
No, on the
No,
other
on
side,
the other
south
side.
side,
On the back side?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right there, yeah. Yeah, we got, yeah.
56.
We have a lot of, we probably got 50 feet between there and the canopy, but those RVs need more room than 20 feet to get in there.
Well, yeah, and the 20 feet, just keep the 20 feet from the canopy. That'll give us, that way you'll have the room on the other side and then we have access right there.
Okay.
Which keeps us out of the collapse zone if the building's on fire.
Right, okay.
We're below 25 parking stalls required for this, so we won't have to do EV or any of that. So it should just be accessible, one accessible stall, maybe two, plus, you know,
That'll probably come in phase two.
that's gonna come in phase two for sure, yeah. And then we've already, I think this already has an accessible path of travel to the building from the public right of way. I
We
think we
have
had to
one,
do that.
we have one on the north side
Well, yeah, that,
coming through.
it
all
all
the way
connects,
Okay,
from-
yeah,
okay, good.
all those buildings.
Yeah, cool.
All right, next with Brianna with Field Services.
You will need a 3-bin enclosure for the trash service.
Which should have been technically, should have had a few during this whole thing that kind of got missed. So Brianna, they just need one?
I would probably do maybe 2, like 1 on each side. Is what is the total occupancy going to be at when you guys are fully done?
Well, this is another year out, a year and a half probably
Okay.
before it's actually work is even, started, because it's gonna have to dovetail after the other project is
So maybe
completed.
put one in now
So-
with phase one and then it can be reassessed during phase two.
Yeah, I would go with that.
Any specific location?
It just has to be direct stab. So I know that there's a couple bins already out on the north, yeah, on the kind of on the north, yeah, right there. They're not in an
Is-
enclosure.
The issue is we gotta have a path of travel
No.
to that as well, no?
Yes, I believe so.
We can talk about that after.
Working on a couple other jobs.
Is that where you would want it, Brianna? Or do you want it closer to the building itself?
Well, that's kind of a long way to walk for whoever's taking the trash out.
Used to be right next to that building number 1 on that northeast corner. Used to be one right there on the opposite corner of that building there also.
Does Wade have, currently, does he have a landscaper do all the landscaping?
I don't know.
Cause we could apply,
There, you still have to do a triple,
can't do a waiver for,
right, Brianna? You can
Yes,
do a waiver for the bin, but you still have to build
At
the
the enclosure.
yes,
enclosure.
you still have to have space for the service, but you can have a waiver as long as there's no landscape or like kitchen in there. Or cafeteria.
So say they wanna do maybe like 2 blacks and 1 blue. And then if anything ever changes in the future, then you can go to 1 of each. If
Correct.
say landscaping comes in for some reason. But
Yeah.
the state, I'm talking on behalf of her, but the state wants 3 bins built, or 3 enclosures built, no matter what.
But there are 2 large ones and then 1 small one for,
No.
all
They're
three the
same
same?
size, yeah.
Really?
The enclosure gets larger if it's requested that a 6-yard bin. Then the depth goes, the width is the same, but the depth is 2 feet. deeper.
Okay.
Right, Brianna?
Yes, you're right.
I'm talking for you.
You're fine.
Just to comment on that, previously, we see more recycle bins going in probably than the black, so definitely could accommodate 2 recycle bins, given the amount of paper products that would be going through the facility.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brianna.
Mhm.
Next with Javier Sanchez, engineering.
Thanks, Oscar. Specifically, specifically for engineering, we won't have comments. Guess more just some bridge comments to like building and pub works. Where on the building side, are those restrooms existing?
Some of them are. The restrooms in the center of the building are existing. The restrooms on the far northwest corner are future,
Okay.
but they may relocate. I'm not, this isn't set in stone yet. The footage is, and we just kind of showed it as an option, but we have to design the restrooms to fit the occupancy load. So we may relocate those, but we definitely, have to consider that that they're compliant, obviously.
Yeah, so that'll just be something during the plan check, is just checking for compliance.
Yeah.
And then just with the increased occupancy, we'll just monitor the flows and that just might affect their utility bill, but it shouldn't be too much.
Okay.
But besides that, there's no comments from engineering.
Yeah, and those existing restrooms did get upgraded during the storage remodel.
Thank you, Javier.
Mhm.
Next is Robert.
Yeah, Oscar, just need to make sure that we have backflow devices on water service and fire sprinkler systems. Also separate meter if required for landscaping.
All the backflows were just replaced. They're all installed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we go up to the pressure test.
Thank you, Robert. I think that's all from staff. Michael? Any
Yeah,
comments,
just
Michael?
just to kind of add on to Robert's comment there. So I know we did some extensive work out there during the Store It project, but just to kind of review the second part of Robert's statement. So any landscaping needs to be fed off of an additional meter. So and the purpose for that is to save you money, right? So any flows that come off, if you just have a single meter and you have domestic use and irrigation, you will see additional costs based on your consumption towards sewer contributions. So any demands on property for irrigation, it would be in the best interest of the property owner and operator to have a separate meter to reduce the additional costs of utility as associated with sewer. And then the only other comment I have is down in the bottom left-hand corner, you guys, you have it identified, but sewer lift station number 10 is how we reference that. But there's a sewer lift station in the bottom left-hand corner of the property. In the aerial map you had up just a second ago, Oscar. So right there on the left-hand side of the parking lot, you'll see that little slab. That is a submersible lift station. The city needs to maintain access to that. And we are there weekly, depending on any issues. Previously, we accessed that from the access road behind it. Since then, the property has been fenced off and gated off. And so there has been some challenges for us to gain access to the property. So just to keep that in mind as it continues to develop.
Okay. Okay.
You think that irrigation is something we could do on phase 2? So that we're not.
Yeah, the landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not interested because they're gonna be tearing all that out. Right. Probably landscape. No, not at this point. I'm just saying when they do the phase two is when they're gonna want to do the landscape. Yeah.
Hey,
And
Mike, that separate meter, is that something that we can do later when we get to the more extensive remodel and change of occupancy, like phase two, or are you asking us to do that right now in phase one?
I just think it needs to be said now. I don't think it's contingent on permit approval, but
Okay,
the reality is our first reporting, so it's a DWR requirement. So DWR has implemented some legislation that is going to require the city of Porterville to monitor consumption based on uses, right? Even though it's commercial or industrial or institutional, even down to multifamily, we're going to have to monitor outside use and indoor use. So it's just getting ahead of the curve or having to come in and do it as a change item later on. If you guys are doing this, we try to address it in this format just because, you know, we don't want to come in a year from now and be like, hey, you have to redo all your landscaping. So really informative at this point. It shouldn't hinder the project moving forward, but it is going to be a requirement.
thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Is there any other comments from staff? Hearing none, is there any questions from the applicant?
No, I think we're just at the point, we just want to make sure that city staff is aware of the project, even though we're a year in advance. That doesn't happen very often, but we are wanting to make sure that everyone is agreeable to the project because it's a big undertaking for both people. You know, of course, the Porterville School District is taking on a large commitment, and as well as the store people. So, you know, if there's any flags that we need to address, now's the time to do it. You know, the backflows and stuff, or the landscape backflows and stuff. I think what happened is, you know, we took out all the old landscape, the big lawns and stuff, and replaced with buildings and stuff. So I don't even remember seeing a landscape backflow, but there definitely needs to be one because when we come in to do the improvements, they're going to want to put some nice things along there and clean that up. So it's definitely a win for everybody to get that in. Right now, the big push is the district is out of space. They need some space to have temporary conferencing, and it's like 30 people, you know, and they're going to be out there pretty much full time in those two locations. So as long as we're okay with that, we make sure we have plenty. We'll make sure we have the parking is striped and those things. We'd like to proceed and do that. We're basically just put carpet and paint on the walls. All we're doing in those rooms because they're existing, obviously. So as long as we have approval for that, those are things that we'd kind of like to keep rolling on if we could.
No, of course, as far as the use, it does fall under office uses, which is a permitted use within that zone district. So we're good there. As far as the other building codes, fire codes, we'll process that through the building permit process. And yeah, we'd like to see you guys here through the finish line.
What's the if PUSD takes over the entire site, are they still planning on keeping a lot of the other building storage and things like that? Like building one, have they talked to you at all about what they're doing with that?
Building one will be gutted out just like this one. All the storage will be gone, and it'll be a similar use. My understanding it'll be the same kind of admin use. There's no students on the site, strictly admin use only.
At that point, we may bring those projects back for review. If it is a changing occupancy, then we'll bring back and revisit those buildings specifically.
And the buildings that are the RV enclosures and those things will be used for their buses and things to park. And
Sprinkler, they can do that.
they can do that, yeah. So, and they need the buses. They're renting bus parking space right now from other sites, so they need the parking and the covered parking. They love it. So.
For both the Mako and the Baja, right?
Yeah.
Because the cupboard isn't sprinklered. We separated that under.
No, we separated that. Yeah.
Right.
Buildings
Just
that are
less than
sprinkled,
12,000.
they can put the vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
But then what about the just the roof cover?
5,000 for vehicles.
The outside vehicles.
Outside stuff?
Because that's just the It's non-sprinklered and it's, the gross roof area
I
is
think the only time that
12,000.
we sprinkler those is when they're in proximity to close to the structure and they cause an increase in the fire area. And they have to be sprinkled as well. So like the ones right here at the apartments, they built them too close and then had to come in with a separate sprinkler system because they expanded the.
We're
But
probably
we'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Figure it all out.
Cause I know that was my only concern with the Baja canopies is that they're non-sprinklered, and I know that we were kind of making that
Well,
argument with.
we fixed that because we split the roofs up to eliminate
Yeah.
that, and we gave you the gap to eliminate it.
You know, a motorhome or a toy hauler, they'll hold gas. Right, so. I would guess. Wait, hold on.
So then that building one would become a B occupancy, similar to what the phase two is
That's
for
my
this.
understanding,
Okay.
yeah, unless they use for more storage value, I don't think so. Because this is what I was saying, just for musical instruments and get some of their classroom stuff inside instead of sitting outside over here on Keswick Street. So they would like to get that stuff cleaned up.
Financially, it makes sense because they could build a site for what they're gonna buy it for, so smart.
A lot of plans. We'll get the Knox box, those things right now. Do that.
We'll need a full set of plans then, pretty much take what we had for portable storage. And then, because they're gonna wanna see site plan, all that, right? I mean, fire alarm, either fire alarm letter that states that it complies or improvement plans for that. Floor plan, well, I'll get you all the ADA details, everything like that too for stalls. Get it cranked out. 2-week review time?
Well, no.
Sure, on my end.
I'm just pulling your chain.
Do we need to do that for this?
I heard we got a year.
We do.
Not this.
This area right here, like I said, everything's existing. Literally, we're just painting and putting carpeting because we tore all the old tile out for floor, originally, but is that a review issue we need to deal with right now, or?
So this area right here is.
Yeah. It's just one open room, and that's a big open room. And they had people
So there-
storing stuff in it.
So there's no storage lockers
Nothing
here.
in there, no, neither one of them. They were just, I think Eagle Mountain Casino, those guys were using to store a bunch of their stuff during the construction. And so they didn't build any mini storages in there, which is a big open room. So they would like, the district would like to use it for mini conference.
Wow, my glasses, what is that?
Oh.
What are these? What is this?
This was a proposed, right, in this room right here was cabinets and a sink for like a little break area. This was all tore out. And we're proposing eventually they might want to put some back in, like maybe a 10-foot cabinet on each side with a sink, just as a coffee sink, basically, and have to have a coffee pot in there or whatever. Because there's no other place, the lounges, none of those are built yet. So just a coffee bar sink, because the plumbing and everything is there. It was in there before, when Beckman's had it. It was here and we tore it out. So everything was there. It's a matter of putting a couple 10-foot cabinets or something like that back in there.
Yeah, so we would just look at the ADA for that area. And then the ADA for the parking. And then the triple bin enclosure. And the fire monitoring. So not much on it for now.
Couple sheets, yeah.
Okay.
We're still cutting in that hole, right, on the wall? Are we gonna do that now, or?
We were gonna put this door in right here. Because there's just a door here and here. And we thought we'd put one in here because they go
Yeah,
above
with-
49.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd go ahead and cut that in. These are, of course, none of these are bearing walls, they're all non-bearing walls. Well, there's no walls here, but there's a wall here. These walls here are existing, and some of these were there. We left them. And these had electric slide doors. Now they're gonna be glass swing doors.
Just need to make sure that there's enough room here for egress if this door swings into the corridor.
Ideally, it'd be nice to swing it in, but you're not gonna want us to swing it in, are you? You probably don't want to swing this out, and we want to maintain a distance from the exit.
Not unless the occupant loads below 50.
Yeah, it's good thing out.
Mechanic hardware. We're gonna have some exit lighting, things like that we'll have to add.
But you should be fine. It looks like you got. What is that? 6'3"?
Yeah, it's a 3-foot door. We got, yes, we got 3 feet.
foot. We would just have to check chapter 10 on that, maintaining that, width.
For egress width, yeah. We will.
If not, you might need to just build a little alcove here. Right.
I may not be a bad idea, just to,
Keep out of the hallway.
so that way people aren't getting smacked by the, yeah.
Are there any electrical, any lighting upgrade?
This room, there's none. This room, we had to add a few lights because they had a lot of can lights in the ceiling and a couple fans. So we're gonna replace them with LEDs. This room here is fine. It's fine. The way it is. Okay. All right.
Oh, good, thank you. With that, we're gonna go ahead and end today's project review committee at 2:07 PM. We'd like to thank the applicant here for the proposed project, and we should get you those comments in about 2 to 3 weeks. Thank you.